I'm live, but it's still showing a preview.
Oh, I'm watching yours.
I don't know why it still sees you. Can you hear me? I'm live, but it's a delay. I can't hear myself.
Oh.
Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, as long as you can hear me. I just want to make sure. I got Steve testing this out to see if you can hear me. And welcome to this listening party. And this is my very first one. And so there will be some hiccups. So I kind of let some of my friends know. And I appreciate you listening. We are going to actually just dive right into a CD that I feel that I should definitely revisit today. I've been going through a lot and dealing with a lot of politics in my place of birth, the United States. So this is election season, and this CD is not just about, elections and things like that, but it's also about the fact that we can't escape politics no matter how much we try. I remember somebody once telling me that everything you do is political, whether the way you wear your hair, the kind of shirts that you wear. Mind you, today I'm representing poetic change, and this is a shout out to Kalila, and I'm all about arts, education, and innovation. So Kalila, if you get the chance to see this live or later, just know that I appreciate all of your support of my work, and the fact that you too come from a military background. And so the CD is also about that, and that's why you see me on the cover with somewhat of a salute to poetic soldiers. And my brother, shout out to my brother Jack, who designed this cover. And this book, this collection, I call it a book, but this collection came out in 2007. I also want to give a shout out to John Hurst, who helped produce some of the tracks on the CD. And I guess without any further ado, I want to go ahead and just start with the first title track, and it'll be somewhat of a listening party. I'll talk a little bit, maybe I'll pause it a little bit and tell you like what I was thinking about when there's certain poems that hit me again. Like, what was I thinking about when I first wrote it? And it's funny, like with this title track, Politics, where it's almost like I talk about this girl named Polly, and it's funny, like especially now where Polly might be Karen or it might be somebody like Becky, these code names people have for some people who have been somewhat annoying or dismissive of people of color. But if your name is Becky, Holly, or Felicia, understand that this is just a play on words, and I really wanted to think about what it means to experience politics on a daily basis. So let's begin with that first title track.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I know Polly. You see, I met her on the job. Some men think she's hot. Some women think she's a trick. I think she tends to be a snob, but I notice she just enjoys the dance bit. So you have to shuck and jive when they believe nepotism keeps them alive. So you have to shuck and jive when the whole truth makes her break out in hives. She said, I know you're doing the same work, but it's not the same pay. Polly ticks me off when she speaks this way. How do you deal with associates who pass you on their way up the ladder? You didn't feel the need to take the proper change, but you forgot that some have Polly on the brain. No one told her that a lack of diverse skills is a crutch. Polly used to show interest, but now Polly doesn't see too much. What Polly sees has labels and names, so she can talk a good game. Meanwhile, the wrong pockets are in the CEO range because she likes the way he plays golf or her cute little car. That's what ticks me off. A Muslim greets the Muslim in Arabic with the word salam, assalamu alaikum. A Jew greets a Jew in Hebrew with the word Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. A Christian greets a Christian with the word peace. I come in peace. In walks a non-believer. Does peace or the gift of greetings decease? No matter the language, the meaning is the same. Is God limited by one name? We go around the earth in search of the original sound. We look outside ourselves, seeking to move, shatter, and break ground. Your favorite musician is playing. Words escape the ear. In between the beats we seek rest. In between the notes we confess our love for the illusion, our love for life and death. Douglas said no struggle, no progress. Every night we sleep, we mimic silence no less. We dive, drift, or drown in this mysterious place. Driven by distraction, the motor is racing at a roaring pace on the highway to heaven. Swaying in and out of line, back to the twinkle of a newborn's eye, forth to the arrival, back to the final day and final cry. Let us give thanks for still waters. Let us be a blooming full flower after the pounding rain. That long breath, inhaling the tide and exhaling the insane, the hell of separation as we take the journey forward. May we no longer resist the beautiful temptation of one universe, one blood, one nation. In the spirit of libation, water is thicker than blood. No matter our belief, we are still moon rocks and mud. We are star children. We are alien. We are humane. We are beast. Peace reveals her fee.
What's the fee, V?
Justice. May justice give birth to we. Research, understanding, unity, breaking bread, pouring tea, long walks. Listen for me. The bridge over the bluest sea. May the war within cease. Let your Dharma be. Let it be.
Salam.
Shalom.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there because I want this to be an interactive experience. I see you, Steve, with the Go Venus, but also know that you can, if you feel a specific line, make sure you type something in the chat. Let me know what sticks with you. Let me know if you have any questions or if there's a specific song that you want to hear. I'm just doing some different, I'm bouncing around on the CD and thinking about different poems that have been coming to mind lately. And Salam Shalom Peace is always definitely one of those poems that I feel that we have to revisit because it's a poem that speaks to difference in just the other, this idea of xenophobia, of people feeling a fear of anything that is different from them and not being open-minded to at least hear the person out. So I've seen that in some of our religious leaders, and I still want to ask that everyone remember the importance, especially right now, of giving people a chance to hear their story and their experience. You may not agree with someone, but yes, taking a long walk or breaking bread with them and pouring tea might be you never know, it might be the solution. I know it's tough, but I know also that there's a quote that stuck with me from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and he said, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that, and hate cannot drive out love, only, he says, somebody knows what I'm trying to say. He said that only love can do that, can only drive out hate. And I believe that to be true. Let me open up the chat. I did get I just got a text from someone saying that they want to participate in the chat, but for some reason, again, there will be hiccups. This is my first YouTube live. Thank you for your patience and support. Let me see if I can figure out how to make the chat available for everybody, participants. Oh, okay. So I see you, Jen. Thank you for letting me know. Welcome to live chat. Let me see. Remember to, let's see. How do we get everybody to be able to participate in this chat? Put user end time. Steve, I'm going to add you as a moderator, so maybe you can help somehow figuring out how to get the chat better. Pop out chat. Pop out chat? I don't know. Let me see. Thanks for listening. All right. Well, until then, it may not be perfect this time. It's okay. It's always. Remember my one of my mottos is always. So if we strive to do our very best, we are still being divine. So when I say always, you say divine, because it's kind of like my version of shooting for the stars. You land amongst the moon. So that's what's going on. We're going to continue with this listening party. Now that we got a little bit of salam, shalom, peace in our system, we have to talk about war. War and peace kind of go hand in hand, just like justice and peace. You're all part of the same conversation. Some people just want to talk about anarchy, no solutions, but I feel like at the same time we also have to think about planning, and everybody is needed. There's so many positions to play, from being that healer, which I feel like is more of what the role I play, but also that person on the front line, that person who's willing to donate towards this movement of trying to evolve humanity. Whatever position you're playing, I thank you for it. We're all one. We all bleed red. And this next piece is a poem that I want to share, which is one of my favorite pieces on this CD. And it's something that sometimes I feel like I'm losing these days, and that is hope. They say hope dies last. This actual poem was first recited inside of the Salvador Dali Museum, and I wrote it when I was looking at an image. It's an ekphrastic poem. I wrote it when I was looking at an image by Salvador Dali called Daddy Longlegs of the Evening Hope. And so I'm going to play Hope for you. When I created this piece, it was raining outside, and John Hurst and I had an idea. I don't know if it was his idea first or mine, but I wanted to record that rain. I don't want to start crying, but because sometimes it feels like when you're in the midst of a storm, and America's in the midst of a raging whirlwind right now, which reminds me of a Marcus Garvey quote. Some of you all saw me windsurfing as I was thinking about Marcus Garvey, because he says, you can catch me in the whirlwind, and I'm going to help you with your freedom and your liberation. So the point is that it's when you're in a whirlwind, a personal storm, or something that's going on externally or internally, sometimes you can lose hope. But this poem reminds us where hope really lies. And I will play it next from the Politics CD.
Hope is within. Hope is within. Let the change begin. Hope is within. My head is heavy as they dance to decay. My insides torn as we rest on what is left of the olive tree. Deaf to the sounds of Cupid's cry. Speechless because my tongue has been cut out and discarded. Music is melting.
Hope is within.
Stretched out my neck in the heat. Now we lay in a deep sleep. 2 dried up bottles of ink lay on my milkless breast. An apolitical and unconscious artist is at
Hope
rest.
is within.
As a daddy long-leg
Hope is still within.
walks across my cheek. When will the war cease? No one can forget the sound of peace.
Let the change begin.
When will the exhaustion end? Luck surfaces
Hope is within.
and hope.
Hope is still within.
Hope is still
Let the change begin.
somewhere within.
Hope is still within.
The removal of a crutch.
Hope is within.
Oh, Cupid, mend me
Hope is still within.
and mold me with your touch. Oh, Cupid, mend me and mold me with your touch.
Hope is within.
Oh,
Hope is still within. Hope is within.
oh,
Hope is still within. Let the change begin. Hope is still within. Hope is within.
hope is still
Within.
within. So let it, let the change begin.
Whoa. Can I go grab a tissue? Because I forgot how powerful that poem was. Man, sometimes I forget the importance of hope in our lives. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Jamar. I see you, Jen. Thank you for cheering me on. Thank you, Steve. Wherever, 2 or more gathered, I heard there's a church. Somebody says hashtag church. Well, I took people to church with this CD. I have 2 versions of Amen on this CD. And sometimes I wish I would have called this poem, instead of Amen, a woman, Amen, and spelled it AWOMAN. Because when people read it, they might read it A women. I will love a women. I'm just playing. I had to go there. But what I mean is, this poem is really about balance, and I believe balance is key. One of the things that we're returning to is, I believe, this idea of balance. I do believe that humans at one time were a little bit more balanced than we are now. And I'm going to go ahead and share this poem, A Woman, Amen. If you've never heard it, this is one of my more popular poems, but it is one that speaks to, it speaks for itself. Let me play it for you. I don't know if I should play the live version though, or which one should I play? Tell me in the chat. You get to choose live version or the studio version. Tell me what you want. Somebody tell me. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I'll just play it. You all are late in the chat. Can you hear me? I'll just play something. Let me see.
Let me hear you say amen.
Amen.
Now let me hear you say it again.
Amen.
See, a man destroyed my home when he left a woman alone. A man made me groan, then he changed his tone. A man ripped off my shirt and groped me in a crowd.
Amen.
A man yelled, "Look at her stupid ass," and he laughed real loud. A man didn't see me as his sister, a friend, or a mother. Oh no, I was simply the foe, a female, a woman.
Wait, I gotta pause this because I gotta tell this story. Wait. Okay, so who you hear playing with me on this one? So I'm glad I did play this one because there's a story behind this one. Tim Richardson, who's also helped me with the CD, him and I are having a lot of fun. I don't know if you hear him like egging me on and playing like the audience, but that's who you can hear in the background is Tim and I being somewhat, you know, if you don't know, I have a background in acting and I love skits. Steve and I, we do a lot of skits. I get a lot of my fill out of Steve with doing skits here in the house. But and shout out to Got Jokes, who I'm an original member of. But I love skits, and this was just a fun skit in the studio, just pretending to be in church together. I wish you all had the video of me and him clowning on this, but I'll let it continue to play a little bit more.
That made me feel like I couldn't say no.
Yeah, now, come on now.
Misogynist is the title of these artists who find instant fame.
Preach it, sis.
Simply by calling a female outside her name. But this kind of music is not banned in your store. Why? Because mama, she bought it for amen. Somebody say amen.
Come on now.
And the CD case is on her daughter's bedroom floor.
Wow.
Because as long as a woman sees herself as less, a man doesn't have to be more. Somebody say we need a woman of state. Somebody say a woman. Wait a minute. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11 through 14 is cause for debate. Quiet as it's kept. King James was openly bisexual. He never knew his mother, and he passed on more chauvinistic than homophobic traits. Kings are rightly called gods, he'd say. And if you don't believe my version, it's hell. You'll pay. Well, today, if
You don't wanna pay
want
that.
to see equal economic opportunity,
Oh,
sister, clean up your inner temple and then organize your community. Brother, can you cherish a parental role that's not based on your gender fate? Could you imagine
Yeah, I can. Come
every
on.
man knowing how to fix his
His
own
own
plate? A boy with a sense of male pride can play with the dials and nurture the father inside. What would happen if every girl learned to protect herself in case he decides to run and hide? I say that's when the violence will decrease. Can we strive for the 22nd century at least? Because your son's toy soldiers are played out in the West, North, East, and South. Can I get a woman to stop raising these extreme men? I don't want to hear these types of men again. For it is a woman that we have all passed through. Therefore, to every woman, respect is due. So when we say amen, can we say a woman too? And may a love for balance be the much needed glue. Okay, let us pray. Dear Creator of the heavens and the earth, may each and every one of your creations feel a sense of worth. May our visions return to harmony and balance again. Let it be so, and so it is. A woman, amen.
Okay, Okay, now I have never had a crowd that that specifically hyped, but let me say, in the live version on this CD, something I will never forget. There was a young girl in the audience, and she couldn't be more than like maybe 12 years old. And I just loved it. And on this live version, you can hear her say, "I want it." Everybody was like, "Oh," So I'll never forget that moment. And yeah, that's this CD highlights two versions of that. So I want to get some people to. I know some of you wanted me to play the live version, but maybe if I don't play all of them, maybe you can get somebody to actually get the CD so you can hear what I don't play. And yeah, so I think that's important, right? So please support Art for Social Justice. A Woman, a Man is still very relevant today because we're still trying to get that equal pay. We also still trying to get a president that looks like a female and is coming from a little bit more of a feminine energy. That means that I really would like to see a woman president in my country of birth, but I don't know if it'll ever happen because I know we really still are working on seeing women in positions of power and leading, and not seeing empathy as a weak-minded thing. And I think not all females are empathetic, but unfortunately, but I do think that I want to see a balance of masculine energy and feminine energy in every creature, in my opinion. So that is what I'm talking about when I go into what wrecks really a lot of havoc is war. So there's some poems that were supposed to be on the CD that I'm thinking about playing, but given Black Lives Matter movement right now, I want to play this poem, and then I'm going to play Was He Black after it, but it's another controversial piece, but I had to go there because this is part of who I am. And there is white and then there is wrong. I thought about titling this piece White and Wrong, but sometimes war begins in a conversation. Again, when we don't want to sit down, like I said earlier, and really listen to each other and create dialogue versus debate, we can have an intention to go to war versus to actually go to understanding and just go to listen and not even necessarily agree. But this piece is really about a conversation I had, a few conversations. I kind of combined a lot of different conversations where people had a problem with my marriage. I've been married for 20 years to someone who is dedicated to this justice movement as much as I am. And shout out to Stephen Jones, who's listening. And this is for anybody who tried to make you feel like all mixed couples were the same if you happen to be in a mixed relationship or quote unquote interracial relationship. But this is a poem that talks about how war begins sometimes with a conversation. Or lack thereof conversation, right? Folks wanting to go to war.
War in the east, war in the west, everywhere is war.
He said, "What are you? Where you from? Brooklyn? Queens? The Flats?"
The flats, that's where that bitch from.
It ain't where you from, it's where you going.
Right?
Or like Rakim said,
Where you at?
and since I knew a little bit of hip-hop history, he automatically assumed I was black. Then he began to push up on me and I had to break him down. First, I have a man, so wait a minute, don't clown.
He let you run free?
We have a marriage of liberation, not
Not
incarceration.
incarceration.
I am where I want to be, but if you look a little closer, you'll see he's in another conversation standing beside me.
You couldn't find a black man?
Yes, he was bold with a clear goal. I told him his good old boy Clarence Thomas looks black, but he has no soul. Listen, he thinks a lot like Bono from U2. Let me introduce you.
Who? Man, please. I ain't trying to meet that crap. Man, she must have got up her mind.
Is being black the only necessity for you?
Woman, don't you know your history?
I represent the mother of all civilization. This is no biological mystery. I'm proud that I roll with a diverse
Crew. Hey.
Are there 36 colors or 3 primary flavors?
What? I don't know.
I thought you knew. Truth is, scientists can't even agree. You see, I earned that college degree, and you also could benefit from a class in anthropology.
Whatever. You married a white man.
I laughed. I'm married to a white man, and he happens to be the right man.
Mr. Wrong said, you're lost. You could have had me.
And I was thinking, whoa, ooh, controversy. Stop right there. I didn't even know you. And given your rush to judgment, I don't think you would have ever been in the running, boo. When I was growing up, I did my homework, and someone that sounded a lot like you said I was acting white. When then and now, I continue to uplift this black plight. So no rude boy, I didn't rule out any color in my Crayola box, but I used to think that white women who dated black men should be put on lock. Oh yeah, for years. I shook my head at the thought of coloring outside the line until Cupid shot an arrow straight through my behind. You're free to date a white woman or a white man.
I'd be fine.
I'd be fine.
He got jungle fever. He got luck.
I know you think it's all about the fever for the forbidden flavor because, ooh, all mixed couples are the same. All whites are rich and want blacks physically or mentally chained. If you hate white people so much, stop wearing their clothes and watching their TV shows while you acting like we fresh off slavery. And not one thing has changed. Work on more dual citizenship, or could you try to rebuild Garvey's Back to Africa campaign? Even if we were still on the plantation, you would be the first one trying to claim. Martha, she should be in the field, and I should be in the house. And like Cain and Abel, your jealousy would bring the most division and pain. It's similar to black on black crime in the Sudan, or the white on white crime of the Jewish Holocaust. Money and power
In the wrong hands.
equals greed.
What?
In the women,
Lost.
leaders, lost. Classification by race was created out of fear in 1758 by a Swedish man with a complex. You see, other than albinos, his creed was vanishing with intermingling and sex. So when interracial couples create more of his idea of blacks, you want to bring vex? But you the main one sweating Mariah Carey and Halle Berry like we mixing donkeys with monkeys, like Harry. You see, my husband is my yin, and I am his yang. While you may think it's strange, balance we maintain. I hope the next time you'll change your strategy and get a clue. I don't have to be anti-white to love myself. And I can still choose to be pro-black when graced by a true African king.
African? Man, I'm black.
Focusing on eyes, hair texture, skin color, and a last name.
Will not tell you.
When I tell you if a cultural heritage or legacy is being maintained. But I'll answer the initial question for you. Some call me his English, a mixture of Rican, Black Cherokee, and I am the original Jew. I waited for his reply, but he simply rolled his eyes and walked away. I know the bright sun will shine light on the seed that I planted that day. All blood bleeds red between him and I. Between you and me. It's written in the book of Acts, every nation is made of one God. God shows no partiality. So being of sound mind, I I release all thoughts of racial supremacy. Divide by flesh
And be conquered.
be conquered, or unite in the Holy Spirit and live free. And in the words of the prophecy of Bob Nestor Marley, until a man's skin is of no more importance than the color of his eyes,
War.
is all you will see.
Everywhere is war.
Inner peace.
War in the east, war in the west. Everywhere is war. Everywhere is war. Everywhere is war. War in the east, war in the west. Everywhere is war.
Woo-wee. Yes, that is war. That was war, right and wrong. Now, we know a whole bunch of white folks is doing wrong right now, okay? But when we generalize, we end up acting just like our oppressors. And I just would love for us to rise above those who will seek to live righteously. I think that this piece is also very important because if I go after one, I have to go after the other. And there is sometimes some people who actually, I want to correct some things. That poem has changed a little bit. Actually, with more research, I realized it was 1735 when they first started classifying race. So I did a lot of research when I was looking into how did we get here. So that poem it still boggles me when I see people generalizing. It really hurts my heart. But that part about cultural anthropology, man, that class really did change my life. Seriously. Some of us really don't know the difference between ethnicity and nationality. We don't know the difference between culture and what is learned behavior, right, really is what culture is. And culture really has nothing to do with pigmentation. So I digress because it's a whole nother class. But what I want to do is get into this next piece, because that term black, when he says, I'm not African, I'm black, which is a whole other conversation that I've seen come up lately. Sometimes there's still a fear around both terms. I just can't wait till when I describe who I am at the end, that's what I've been told that I am. But the truth is, I was an adopted child. I don't really always know exactly what my ethnicity is, but I know that I identify as human, and I really can't wait until we get to that point where we all really do see each other as human beings who are, even on another level, spiritual beings having a human experience. But until then, we may still hear this question: was he black?
Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome. The revolution will not be televised. Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome. The revolution will not be televised. Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome. The revolution will not be televised. Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome. The revolution will not be televised.
A young man flew his plane into Tampa's Bank of America. Was he a terrorist, you ask? Was he black? When the young man put pipe bombs in mailboxes, was he a terrorist, you ask? Was he black? And when a young man went on a journey and joined Al-Qaeda, spoke a new tongue, was he a terrorist? You ask, was he black? Now, if I said he was black, would you say, I figured that? And if I said he was brown, would you say, he helped bring the Twin Towers down? But if I said he was white, would you say, now that's not right. He must have been temporarily insane. Was he on medication? Must have gotten on the wrong track. How can we get that boy back? Now, if he were brown or black, would you have said that? Would his medication been an unknown or insignificant fact? The war on terrorism didn't start with Timothy McVeigh or 9/11 a year ago today. Some believe it started with Columbus
Stumbled on the red man
and broke the pact. It started when 110,000 Asians were detained during the very first Whites Are the Only Patriots Act. Today, over 5,000 Arabs rot in jail cells guilty by skin color association. Christianity is the only quote-unquote right faith in their due process of elimination. Sit quiet, pray,
Good evening and welcome.
and have
Good
faith
evening and welcome.
in the system, all ye of darker hue. But don't hold your breath. Poetic justice is truly overdue.
Be televised.
When it comes to the war on black, let's just journey 39 years back. That's when North America lost all of her taste intact. Sunday, September 15th, 1963. I hope you will never forget. A tender 11 and 14 died on 9/15 in the 16th Street Baptist. On 9/15, the building was a progressive and freedom-fighting church where 4 little girls were found dead. She's dressed in her Sunday best with blood, concrete, and glass spilling from her swollen head. This bombing was different. The spirit of the civil rights fight they sought to kill. Even a racist Southern belle suggested that the murder of a female child was ill. We lost more than one precious and rare pearl.
Televised.
The rest of the world mourned the stolen promise of each bright, brown-skinned, and freshly cut
Be televised.
girl. But in the divided states, victims and terrorists lived side by side.
Be televised.
Criminals roamed in circles with torches in search of a sturdy tree, and it's a proven fact that J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI, and the Klan were all working together to some degree to stop liberation. To stop liberation, to stop movement, to silence the wannabe. Voting, well-versed, briefcase-toting, financially and mentally free? Penalty was extreme. Only if you looked brown or black. Unfortunately, I have to add a drop of pigmentation, see. Final convictions may have never been made
If it wasn't for
Spike Lee digging up dirt from the grave. The grieving families buried their own and they cried alone in separate community. The
nation did not
unite against terror, wave flags, or sing songs in unity for Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, Addie Mae Collins, and Denise McNair.
hashtag say her name.
America has forgotten about the day the children died with midnight eyes and bushy hair, like the 250 million lost in the Middle Passage, the countless castrated and raped, the countless injected with syphilis, dragged and beat, the 600 black-owned businesses bombed from the air in Tulsa on Black Wall Street, the tortured, lynched, murdered, the bred and sold,
Who slayed?
enslaved. This kind of terrorism has had a long existence in the home of the brave. For over 400 years, terrorists led the scavengers in a variety of systematic pacts. Thanks to Jim's policy, white sheets, they just took what they lacked, like sneaky racing rats. A poor black cat can be found chasing his own skinny tail, and there are a few strays who dash across the finish line today without fail. They stretch their arms out and reach for the sky to thank the heavens for the way they got over, like a black man in a movie who wasn't the first to die. After a long jump, a million marches and a wall of ebony and ivory grins. Did you know that in 1995, not one, but over 40 black churches burned again?
Good evening and welcome.
Do the people
Not be televised.
always have to
loot
loot
Good evening
and stoop as low as the oppressor to make amends? Will all impoverished people of color ever catch up to that Euro-dollar trend? America could repay the descendants of her enslaved with affordable health care, a quality education, decent housing, and at least one profitable opportunity.
But until
But
then,
until then, just try to pretend. OJ didn't need at least 40 acres and one loyal mule to win. The Liberty Lady, who weighs the facts, is actually a blind old bat.
she just learned to sniff.
I said she just learned to sniff. All along that money track. She just wants to keep her power and wealth intact. Will you forget the numbers? Will you forget how survivors of ethnic profiling and economic terrorism chose to react? And the next time they speak of a terrorist, will you continue to ask, was he black?
Whoa, yes. Was he black? Was he black? Well, that poem right there, man. I forgot to say, war also was made me think of Haile Selassie and Bob Marley's quote, but because actually Bob Marley he was inspired by a Haile Selassie piece or speech, and that's where when he said that about until a man's skin is of no more importance than the color of his eyes, then war is all you will see, which was also what sparked that. But this poem, Was He Black? Man, this was written this was a year after 9/11 when I wrote this. And I was furious, people. I was furious. I didn't know what to do with my anger. I was so mad because I was seeing people come together in unity over the lives of other people. And they were screaming things like, yeah, we down with terror. But I was thinking, what about the terror that's been going on with my people? What about the terrorism that we still live with today? Now, obviously, that's coming to light more and more with these modern day lynchings. And what some people don't know is that in America, lynching was a pastime. It was like going to have a picnic. People would just even trade the postcards, quiet as it's kept, the pictures of the lynchings and everybody having fun like it was an amusement park. And what scares me now is that some people are, I feel, benefiting from the digital trauma of just sharing those same images, and everybody is not being traumatized by them. Unfortunately, some people are collecting them like they did those postcards. So that's just hashtag real talk. But I want you guys to remember that just remember some of those numbers. I feel like I had to go back and research, and I want to correct myself on the numbers of the people in the Middle Passage. Now that is a contested number. I think that one's a little bit more inflated, but we know there's countless people, and I had to go back and research that one, but I know that all the other numbers are pretty much right on. So I just want to say that just continue to be there for people, even if they don't look like you, and represent, and try to make sure you take care of your self-care and take care of yourself, because we might still be asking that question. And it's funny that before hashtag say her name was a thing and a trend, I was trying to say the names of the people who passed, those 4 little girls who we kind of forgot. So I wanted to make sure I said their names too, because sometimes we get caught up in the Black Lives Matter movement and we are only speaking the names of black men, but there's a lot of young women and girls who have also passed. So after watching Spike Lee's movie, 4 Little Girls, which I recommend you see that documentary, it also was inspiration for that piece. So we're coming close up on a complete hour, so maybe you have about 10 minutes left. And in that last 2 minutes, I want to just tell you that I want to give you something that's not on the CD. And before I close, I want to tell you about another thing I would love for you to do is support me on Patreon if you can. You can find me at Venus Love Jones on there. So, look for me on there, and there'll be another live session at 4 p.m. today for my patrons, the people who are sponsoring, and they will get some stuff that no one else can get, just because I like to show love to those who really are showing love to me financially. So I love you as well. And those who maybe you can't give right now, you want to give in the future, that's fine. But if you don't support me, you don't have to support me. Support somebody, support some art for social justice, and art is activism sometimes. And I even do speeches on art as activism and teach you how to be an activist with your work. So if you're interested in that, DM me, email me at vj@venusjones.com or info@venusjones.com. Either one. Bookings at venusjones.com works too. So I'm here. I'm ready. This is my position. I'm going to continue to be a poetic soldier. So on that note, let's play Poetic Soldier, because this was for somebody who also stood up for me. When he didn't have to. He stood up for Paul Robeson. He risked his life for black people, and he didn't even live. for Black Americans, and he didn't even live in the United States. His name is Pablo Neruda. He united poets internationally. And when Paul Robeson, who was quote unquote blacklisted in America, it was Pablo Neruda who stood up for him. And that is why I stand up for Pablo Neruda and what he represented, which is true, humane empathy and love for everyone who is willing to love themselves as much as Paul Robeson loved himself and he loved his people.
A poetic soldier for Pablo Neruda. A poetic soldier waits in line for the word. Forward. Pablo speaks of passion in his formal address. He speaks of the sweet waste of America and his detest of Chile's chaotic civil war and the constant state of unrest. A poetic soldier is in step, leading with his left, searching for a way to stoically step out of line. But his truth still marches on, and the voice of the people never left his mind.
He is left with an
aftertaste, and you can see a pinch of love left in his hard face. So they stampede his home in a whirlwind of ripened rage, seeking to burn and tear each word left from
on
the
that page.
Some Nobel peaceful march this is.
Ready, halt.
Love is what it is. The calming stream that warms us with rippling waves, drenching dry feet and healing cracked hands, giving hope to every woman and every man. This stream will flow to distant shores, quenching the center of the earth's core from every dying house, from
every dying cell and pore.
You may find me in exile with the next oust when democracy doesn't live here anymore. You may find me in exile because I purify the open sore when freedom doesn't live here anymore.
A poetic soldier.
Standing at attention, waiting in line, prized with a red heart, waits, while clones seek to puncture, ransack, and kill. The spirit lives on as they drill the mind. In an effort to keep the flock bleeding in battle, in an effort to keep the flock blind and bastard to their clear conscience with belted brass books that shine.
Who are we?
We are the people's passion. A poetic soldier is a dictator's deadliest assassin. Even in death, Pablo, you are more than a metaphor or a rhythmic line. You keep giving hope to the homeless. You keep giving sight to the blind.
Forward.
Forward.
March. Hey. Okay, so that is the second to last poem. I have to really make this last poem good. What is it going to be? I'm thinking. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat before I leave. Where is the chat? Man, this went a lot better than I thought. I thought I was going to have way more technical difficulties in this. Shout out again to Stephen Daniel Jones for helping me out and getting this set up. Because I'm used to Zoom, but I'm not used to YouTube Live. And shout out to everybody who tries something new for the first time, like me. And we have to sometimes be willing to fail, right? And if we only live once, may we live a full life, a life full of adventure, and a life full of love. Right behind me, you got my mantra right here. Another one of my mantras: live, laugh, and love all day long. All right. Well, I have lost my chat. I don't even know where it went, but it's all good. Maybe I will be able to see your comments later. So I will end with one more poem. And I wonder if I should give you something that was supposed to be on here that didn't make the cut. So there's another thing that didn't make the cut. And it is... Where is it? Oh, I like the fact that I have these on the CD. I really like the fact that I had definitions, like polygraph. Let's play that.
Polygraph, an instrument for recording variations of different pulsations simultaneously.
So yes, what is the definition of politics?
Politics. Competition between competing interest groups or individuals for power and leadership.
Can't escape it. Can't escape it. Politics. Somebody's always going to be fighting you for leadership, which reminds me of a quote by Jimi Hendrix, who said, when the love of power is replaced by the power of love, ooh, that's when the world will know peace. Some people are so power hungry, man.
Polysemous, marked by multiple meanings.
Yes, polysemous all day long. We know some things that are marked by multiple meanings, but we have to look deep. And yeah, I just wish we could do a polygraph test for every person who says they're not a racist. Wouldn't that be cool? I think I want to end maybe with this. This is something that oh man, Central Nervous Station is good too though. Oh, but I'm not gonna play that. But man, when you go back and look at that one, just talking about the media, that one was when it was inspired by a movie that I watched called Outfoxed. Ooh, I was mad after I watched that movie. That documentary. I love documentaries. And that's what produced Central Nervous Station. This is me. This is the epilogue. I don't know if it made it on the CD or not, but this is me and John.
Hi, this is John with oh, stop. I'm sorry.
What's your name?
I said John. It's supposed to be cartoon.
You don't know who you are? You don't know me. You don't know me.
Another good track. You don't know me. You gotta check that one out. If you haven't.
John Hurst, aka Cartoon from Hurst Boy Records. And in the studio, we just wanted to holler at y'all a little bit about this project. Ask me something, Cartoon.
Oh, we had so much fun.
Venus, why politics?
Alright, why politics? The specific project began after I spent a few hours studying like words like that start with poly. Like poly, everything from Pollyanna to politics.
I have not listened to this in years.
That's why I put the definitions in there. That was the concept. Yeah. Edutainment. New vocabulary. Right? Okay. And then what happened was, I decided that the personal is political. It wasn't my first, it wasn't my idea, but it is something that I thought about while doing this project, and everything is contestable. I mean, everything we do, somebody's going to contest it, so therefore everything is politics.
Well, I need to be politically correct.
Right. So you got me, right?
I got you.
Right.
Gotcha. I hope the music got to be politically correct with the political.
I think the music was right on point. I think so. But I'm sure somebody's going to contest that.
If they want to, they can write the music.
That's right, Hurst Boy. And I just want you all to know that I do, for those of you who would like a different version, we do have 2 alternate versions of previous tracks, and do enjoy. If you've purchased this CD, I thank you for your financial support. If you didn't and somebody burned it for you, that's cool, but just at least spread the word. VenusJones.com. MySpace
MySpace. Ooh, how old is it?
Well, you can just hit us up at HurstBoyMusic.com or MySpace /HurstBoyMusic.com. Yeah, if you burn it or if somebody give you a copy, hey, more power to you. Just let them know, that, we should respect what we're doing here for, as far as the music and as far as the poetry thing. But,
poetry for life!
So it's a little love and respect on that end. If you don't like it, then don't play it.
Give it away! Alright, I appreciate y'all.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey. That's beautiful, man. I love that. And it's funny. I just talked to John Hurst this week too. He got a new remix for They Don't Really Care About Us by Michael Jackson. So if you want a copy of that, if you become a patron, I might put that up on my page and get him the proceeds. So what's up? If you are listening and you really like this work and you think that it's important and it's crucial, let somebody know. My name is Venus Jones. We are at 2:11 and we started at 1:11. I wanted to start at 11:11, but I woke up late because I was having trouble sleeping, because even though I'm smiling, sometimes I'm hurting inside. And, I was told never to let them see you sweat, but I also want you to know that the pain is real. And I'm going to still represent Black Joy, though, because I love my haters so much. And I know what they would prefer to see. But as Maya Angelou said in her poem, Still I Rise. Yeah. Did you want to see me broken? It's okay. Still I rise. I love you all. And I just think that just if you can continue, maybe I'll do another viewing listening party later. We didn't get to all of the tracks, but I think it's okay, because I wanted to share and talk to you about how they came to be a little bit, because you could listen to it on your own. But thank you for listening with me and helping me reminisce about poems that really make a huge impact for those who listen and listen with a full heart and with complete ears. If you have any comments for me, any suggestions, feedback, I'm all ears as well. So do let me know how I can be a better service. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. My name is Venus Jones, Venus Love Jones. Let's fly in V formation, because we can get so much higher that way. No matter what color, creed, no matter what nationality. I love you. We are one. I love you. How do I stop this damn thing?